including retiring Representative Frank Wolf of Virginia, who is scheduled to introduce legislation next week authorizing the use of military force against all international terrorist groups. Frank Wolf joins us now by telephone. Frank, as always, we appreciate you joining us here on America's Forum.
Thank you, JD. Good to be with you.
Now, Frank, you had a military background as an Army reservist, using your skills as an attorney on behalf of the United States Army in a reserve capacity. But you had that role militarily. Politically, you know and I, though, although a lot of people want to see action, some of your colleagues in Congress may not necessarily want to vote for a specific resolution. Do you believe the party leadership and others in Congress will support the resolution you have in mind?
Well, JT, I don't have any military experience, but I do fund the committee that looks at the FBI, and what we're facing is a direct threat to the nation. And so the Congress has to participate. The administration has not done a good job. We clearly see that. So this bill would eliminate any ambiguity. It would also provide the clear authority for the president and the military to act. But you have 140 Americans. You just saw the story. You have 140 Americans that are fighting for ISIS. Yeah, you had a guy from Vero Beach, an hour and a half north from where you are now, went over there, came back, and went back over and blew himself up in a suicide bombing. This is the direct threat to the nation. If you looked at the two beheadings, the guy who did the beheadings, who was standing there, was talking to the president of the United States. So this is a direct threat. And Al-Shabaab up in Somalia, there are a lot of Americans that are fighting with Al-Shabaab. So for the Congress not to participate, not to be involved, would be terrible.
Frank, there are those who say Congress has already given its authority for the commander-in-chief, whoever that may be, to act based on earlier votes. What do you say to those folks?
Jay, listen, I'm not a fan of the Obama administration. I think they have been a disaster, but it's not enough for the Congress to sort of watch what they do, and if it works, say, hey, great, we support it, and if it doesn't work, criticize it. I also have a bill in which has been in for March, and we haven't moved the bill yet, to make it a crime for somebody from the United States to go over there and fight with ISIS. So the Congress, you know, JD, you served here. We have the right to declare war. The Congress cannot just say, hey, administration, you do whatever you're going to do. If it works, we'll like it. If it doesn't, we're going to criticize it. We have to debate this, and I think we have to vote on it. Yeah, a lot of people may not want to, but we have a moral obligation, but I think we have a legal obligation.
Frank, as you were talking about the role of Congress, we were taking a look at one of the actions prompted by the State Department and the administration. That is a video, a powerful video, a video depicting brutal acts that the State Department is aiming toward Muslims they believe can be open to both ISIS and its social media appeals, and quite frankly, to counteract that. What do you know about what the State Department has put together to try and get people to think twice before joining up with ISIS?
I have not seen the video. I hear it is very, very violent, and I'm not prepared to criticize them or to commend them until I know a little bit more about it. The State Department was very slow on moving. If you remember when the Christians were being slaughtered, the Yazidis, but maybe this is good. So I think for me to comment without seeing it, JD, would be really not a good idea. But we have to do a lot that hasn't been done up until now. The very fact that many of these people have been radicalized here in the United States. Vero Beach is not exactly a center of terrorism. And for a young guy who likes to play basketball, leave Vero Beach and go over there and join. So you have to do something, but you have to make it a federal crime.
Frank, as we take a look at all of this, there is a new article this morning in the Washington Times saying ISIS is, quote, clearly capitalizing, end quote, on the leaks from former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, and they're using those top secret disclosures to evade American intelligence. What's your assessment of that report?
I think that's accurate. For the longest period of time, this whole Snowden thing at NSA, we had people more concerned about the NSA than they were about ISIS and Al Qaeda. Yeah, the fact that all this was leaked has taken information that the enemy can use against us. So I think it's a very valid report. But for the longest period of time, even in Congress, everyone was criticizing the NSA and not dealing with Al-Qaeda. The real danger is now Al-Qaeda is watching this. And is Al-Qaeda going to say, okay, look how well ISIS is doing, we're going to join them? Or is Al-Qaeda going to say, look at the coverage that ISIS is getting, we're going to now participate and do something? Keep in mind, 15 Saudis who could barely speak English, who were not American citizens, with box cutters, did what they did on 9/11. These people now, many of them are Americans, they speak English, you have American passports. Also, JT, you have over 500 from England with it. Passports who can fly in here any day. From Germany, from Scandinavia, from France.
Frank, as we take a look at this, we understand the president is scheduled to brief members of Congress today, but many Republicans say they were not notified of this briefing. Is that simple miscommunication, or should the commander-in-chief be talking just to members of his party?
There was a briefing today. I didn't know that there was a briefing today. Nobody said that there's a. Where did you hear that there was a briefing today?
In checking the reports, my producers came across something in the itinerary. We'll run it down for you.
But JD, there are almost no members of Congress here in town. As you know, they're back in their district. So to have a briefing today, I didn't see it. I don't think anybody called my office. So there may be a briefing, but it's one that I know nothing about. And to have a briefing Monday morning, or bring members back and call them, but has there been a call by the administration to bring the Congress back? Has there been a call? I don't think so, JJ.
And obviously it would be problematic to try and do some sort of conference call, although you and I have participated in those calls earlier. Usually they don't concern something as vital as the commitment of U.S. troops or what is going on from a national security.
I think it would have to be a secure environment. No, you couldn't have a conference call because, I mean, the Chinese could hack into that. Anybody could hack into that. So I don't know of any briefing. Now, maybe there is one, but my office has not been contacted.
Frank, let me turn to something else you just mentioned, Al-Qaeda. As we've concentrated on the rise of ISIS, you also talked about what Al-Qaeda might be up to. It is interesting to note that yesterday, the man who was previously second in command, who we assume has taken over, al-Zawahiri, appeared in a video talking about the expansion of Al-Qaeda into the Indian subcontinent. Is this a competition now between ISIS and Al-Qaeda for the hearts and minds of radical Islamists?
I saw that video, and I think they are expanding. Al-Shabaab is expanding. Boko Haram is expanding. And the real question is, what will Al-Qaeda do? Will Al-Qaeda say, ISIS, we're going to join them? Or will they say, look at this. We're going to show that we're even. And I think that it could very well be the latter. Al-Qaeda is not on the run. Bin Laden may be dead, but Al-Qaeda is not on the run. And the ISIS group is not a JV group that the president said. When the president called them JVs, they had already taken over Fallujah. So
Frank,
I think you have a triple threat out there. You have ISIS, you have Al-Qaeda, you also have Al-Shabaab, who has Americans fighting with them. They were the ones who blew up the mall and did all the attack in Kenya. You also have the group in Nigeria, Boko Haram. So, and these are all connected to a certain degree. They're in contact with each other. So, yeah, I think Al-Qaeda is just as much a threat today as it was before, maybe even more.
Frank, less than a minute remains. We know you have been working to try to make people aware of religious persecution, especially that started or really going on now under ISIS. The update on your legislation very quickly and what you're trying to do.
Well, we did pass the bill, and the president signed it several weeks ago to set up a special envoy to advocate for the persecuted church in the Middle East, including Christians, but also the Baha'is and the Ahmadis and others. But I think American religious leaders have to speak out. Cardinal World did a great statement on YouTube where he said everyone should be advocating and speaking out. The Bible tells us to advocate for those who are being persecuted, whether they be Buddhists, whether it be Muslims, whether it be Christians. The Christian leaders are going to have to begin to speak out.
And on that note, we'll have to end it. Frank Wolf, thank you.